Hello, my name is Chase Drange, and today I'm going to be going over my presentation on the Drange Police Department and the implementation of a crime analysis unit in that department. The city of Drange, Montana, which is a fictional city, has a jurisdictional population of 25,000 inhabitants in town proper, as well as 10,000 in the surrounding county, of which is subject to the sheriff and local laws. The police department size is 75 sworn officers, which works out to 3 per 1,000 inhabitants, which is slightly above the national average of 2.4 per 1,000 per the FBI. Town characteristics, it's located on I-94 between Miles City and Billings in the fictional Bison Chase County, and it sits adjacent to the Crow Indian Reservation, which is incredibly notable due to the higher level of crime rate on the reservation. It serves as an agricultural center for the region with cattle ranches, a governmental agricultural research laboratory, stockyards, a grain elevator, and an annual rodeo. It's noteworthy that the town is the main city in the area, as it is the county seat, and the majority of the individuals from the Crow Indian Reservation, as well as the Bison Chase County, do their business and come to Drange regularly, giving it an influx of population daily. Drange, Montana has a slightly above the national average crime rate of 18 per 1,000 residents. Its proximity to the Crow Indian Reservation is noteworthy due to the fact that the Crow Indian Reservation has a crime rate of 77.89 per 1,000 residents, which is nearly 5 times the national average per crimegrade.org and the FBI. There's been a recent rise in human trafficking and illegal major drug trade in the area, possibly due to its geographic location and proximity to the Indian Reservation. Furthermore, it's significant due to the fact that it sits along the I-94 corridor, which allows trafficking organizations to exit the state or country into Canada, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, or Idaho fairly easily via fairly remote roadways. There's some significant challenges which have been faced by law enforcement with the tribal law enforcement due to the fact that the law enforcement on the reservation is strained due to the crime influx because they're lacking in personnel and resources. And further, there's deep social issues in the area, which results in a reluctance to provide aid, especially when issues involving non-citizens of the reservation are involved. According to the Uniform Crime Report, Drange's Part 1 crimes were 2.5 per 1,000 residents, with Part 2 crimes being predominant. Now, this is historically. In recent years, there's been a severe uptick, however, with Part 1 crimes now constituting 10 per 1,000 inhabitants, over a 400% increase, which is now over half of all reported crime in the area. There's a need for a crime analysis unit to be implemented in the Drange Law Enforcement Department due to the fact that there's been increased criminal activities that are deeply rooted in the community and need to be addressed through meaningful research and data analysis. There's an urgent requirement for this to be implemented to combat human trafficking, major drug trade, and violent crime, which follows these associations. So first we need to go over crime analysis and law enforcement. Crime analysts create crime analysis products that facilitate situational awareness, which is a critical component to effective crime analysis, as well as guiding crime analysis strategies. Additionally, crime analysts serve crime reduction by proxy, not directly, due to the fact that many of their work products contribute to the identification, apprehension, and subsequent prosecution of criminals and criminal activity hotspots, resulting in positive law enforcement guided reduction outcomes. As a result of these measures, criminal analysis serve a paramount role in jurisdictions which foster proactive, community-based transparency championing stratified policing efforts, such as that of the Drange Police Department. Now, this visual I have here shows the efforts of crime analysis units by a study that was conducted, and this is just perceived efforts. However, these are many of the crime analysis purposes that are served. So the importance of crime analysis integration cannot be under uh, emphasized due to the fact that reviews over the 30 years of policing research show that the most effective police strategies are those that are focused on areas, places, and offenders that contribute to a disproportionate amount of crime and disorder. Now, what does that sound like? That sounds exactly like crime analysis. That is exactly what crime analysis focuses on. The evidence suggests that when police target hotspots, which are determined through crime analysis, they're able to have a significant impact on overall crime levels. Crime analysis is a process that can maximize the use of agency resources, which we know, of course, is paramount, especially in a small jurisdiction such as that is Drange, Montana. And it provides a basis for proactive initiatives to prevent crime, monitor police performance, and take advantage of the volumes of information that are collected by various agencies involved. So, crime analysis as a crime reduction strategy. Now, the definition of crime prevention is a proactive measure aimed to reduce or deter criminal activities. This can be found in hotspot policing, foot patrols, community outreach, etc. There's key components of crime prevention, which are environmental design, which can be researched and data backed through crime analysis. Yeah. Crime analysis further results in targeted interventions and the implementation of issue-specific focus strategies to target identified risk factors or issues. This, of course, results from crime data, and it's aimed to have a precise and impacting effect on crime prevention. Identification of crime hotspots, as I already went over, as well as data trends, create informed real-time prevention strategies. Crime analysis further in crime reduction can be seen in the resource and personnel deployment to identified hotspots based on statistical geographical data analysis. Now, modification to patrol strategies may be an example of this because it can be used to address specific crime trends which are observed by crime analysts, such as foot patrol in areas burdened with open-air drug dealing or assaults. Crime analysis can, in fact, enhance situational awareness further through real-time crime mapping, which guides focused patrol routes, as well as hotspot policing, which results in the swift identification of emerging trends and crime patterns, which is paramount in the reduction of crime. So, improving investigative strategies and enhanced resource allocation. Integrated crime analysis involves merging the results of analysis with the patrol function and investigative elements of an agency so that they're coordinated to improve the agency's effectiveness in its approach to public safety. Now, what does this mean? This effectively means that integrated crime analysis merges the strategies and results of the patrol function, which is the day-to-day beat patrolling, walking, whatever it may be, through hotspot policing, repeat offender identification, repeat offender profiling, victim analysis thereof, crime mapping, which can be made publicly available and therefore result in efficient and effective resource and personnel allocation, which fosters transparency, community partnership, and, of course, positive crime reduction outcomes. Of course, with community policing becoming more and more at the forefront of law enforcement efforts in the modern era, enhancing community engagement is at the forefront as well when talking about crime analysis. Now, crime analysis work products promote and enhance community engagement via transparency due to relevant data on arrests, victimizations, and crime mapping, as well as safety due to the fact that crime maps foster a sense of safety, allowing the community to know when and where crime is occurring, as well as cooperation due to the fact that civilians may submit information resulting in data analysis, which creates a perceived sense of cooperation between law enforcement and the community at large. Now, on the topic of Drange specifically, There's three specific software recommendations I would like to make. First and foremost being Microsoft 365. The first reason that this should be implemented is the fact that it's cheap and effective. It's been noted that all that is necessary in the beginning stages of implementing a crime analysis unit is Microsoft 365 because it completes all tasks necessary for a startup crime analysis unit, and it's simple and easy to use compared to complex software implemented by some agencies. And of course, affordability is the main draw. As a Microsoft 365 business account costs $22 per system um, per month, which is fairly low. Of course, crime mapping software also needs to be implemented. Now, Drange already does have a rudimentary crime mapping system. However, it needs to be upgraded in order to better streamline services and better law enforcement outcomes via this ingenious service. It allows for public access, of course, which fosters transparency and cooperation with the public, as well as aids in the implementation of hotspot policing, as crime maps may be utilized by line level law enforcement personnel. It allows frontline officers to view crime succinctly via geographically based trends, and it aids management and administrative personnel as well in the allocation of resources and frontline personnel. Finally, the agency management system. It's a streamlined agency intranet system which allows for secure, sensitive CJ information to be transferred from unit to unit within the department, as well as it does have interdepartmental capabilities, allowing EMS and law enforcement to communicate regarding injuries sustained in a specific event. Now, justification. The implementations that I recommended are in fact relatively cheap. An estimated cumulative first year cost of 15,000 is relatively low, as well as continuing service charges, which are again relatively low, which will be drawn from the Department General Upgrades Fund. They're easy to use. They're incredibly easily to use, often requiring very little training or prior experience. However, prior experience and training is going to be paramount in the selection of candidates on this matter. It's tested and true. The software and hardware has been implemented in countless law enforcement agencies across the country. And this can be used as well to fall back on data from other agencies that's been obtained for justification to the public as well as city administration. Transparency and community engagement, of course, are paramount. The publicly available data that may be shared via the implementation of this department website can result in crime maps and violent and sexual offender maps to be given out to the public, which fosters a sense of collaboration and transparency. Finally, these systems may easily be upgraded, especially if we invest in newer systems. And are sufficient for the newly implemented unit at this time. So long-term position opportunities, there's three main disciplines of crime analysis to include administrative, intelligence, and tactical, as well as a hybrid option of the three aforementioned types of crime analysis. Of course, administrative analysis focuses in long-term comparison on the quarterly, semi-annual, and annual basis, focusing on geographic, economic, and law enforcement IT. Now, the information that they gather is mainly used for departmental management, city administrators, city councils, citizen groups, etc. That's the most high-flying of crime analysis. The next form is intelligence analysis, also known as strategic analysis analysts. This focuses on middle ground data. It's not near as high flying as administrative data analysis. However, it's not the same level as tactical, which is beat level information. It focuses on operational strategies, ongoing long-term crime issues, as well as increasing departmental efficiency in service delivery. And finally, we have tactical analysts, which focus on immediate, tangible criminal offenses, which may be immediate, hourly, daily, or the weekly level of crime. Now, this is, of course, going to result in quickly implementable responses to assist operational personnel aiding in arrests. Now, of course, there's the hybrid option, which I've not provided any information down there on the bottom. However, the hybrid option would just be a well-rounded individual that is able to analyze data on all fronts of this, which is why we are going to be requesting a civilian individual who's been trained in data analysis or similar fields. So the initial position to be filled and requirements and competencies that I'm going to recommend for the general hybrid crime analyst, of course, non-sworn, is a 4-year college degree in, but not limited to, criminology, criminal justice or criminal justice administration, or data analysis. Now, there's a whole myriad of criminal justice concentrations, which also may be considered when looking for applicants. We are going to need a 2 or more years of experience or special skills in, but not limited to, data analysis and crime mapping, research techniques, strong IT skills, law enforcement policy and procedure. Now, this is a strong preference because it's often regarded as an issue in hiring civilian analysts. We're going to need training at least on this, if not strong proficiency, which may have to be tested, as well as 2 or more years of law enforcement experience. In some regard, this does not necessarily mean in specifically as a law enforcement officer. It can be as a prior analyst. It may be as a 911 operator. There is a variety of positions which could provide this experience. Necessary training will be provided by the department and paid for by the training fund. However, applicants who are priorly trained and priorly qualified will be uh, more preferred. Civilian candidate recommendations and justifications. While I do realize sworn officers confer a greater understanding of geographical and community crime, as well as a greater understanding of law enforcement policy and procedure, civilian analysts do confer a less clouded view of crime issues. Law enforcement sworn personnel may have a sort of jaded view of crime and the community which they serve, which can result in improperly collected or analyzed data. Furthermore, there's greater technological competencies to be conferred from someone who went to college and learned in those disciplines, as well as greater data analysis and crime mapping skills for the same reasons, as well as further education and opportunity for training over the course of their experience in the past, as well as they confer a unique understanding and perspective on crime trends and community issues, as well as being more cost effective due to the fact that sworn law enforcement trained personnel can focus on day-to-day operations rather than wearing 2 hats in the event that they were used as a crime analyst. Now, first year expenditures. The analyst salary, which was based on the national average salary of crime analysts from crime analyst salary from ZipRecruiter, is $65,000, which we are prepared to pay, which will be drawn from the general fund and requested from the mayor and city council, which may require voting. The first year costs for the software and hardware upgrades is going to be $15,000 due to the fact that new computers need to be purchased. It's obvious that I made a mistake. I forgot to delete those figures that randomly were generated from the initial um, figure that I put up. So ignore the profit and the year 2 and year 3 of the hardware and software. The software and hardware was based on various figures that I obtained during activity 5.3 of this final project. And then training and miscellaneous is going to be $1,500, which was based on the International Association of Crime Analysis 12-week training course of $445,000 with an additional allowance of $1,055 for necessary training. Long-term savings. Now, uh, it's difficult to ascertain exactly what the long-term savings will be as there is no studies on this matter. However, we can deduce that there will be heightened law enforcement situational awareness, resulting in crime reduction and focused law enforcement efforts. Now, due to a study that was conducted by LAPD, crime analysts created chronic offender bulletins for distribution to patrol detectives, and watch commanders. And over the next 16 months, officers spent 13,326 extra minutes patrolling the corridors which were identified, resulting in the arrests of 112 out of 189 chronic offenders. Now, this the importance of this has to be underscored due to the fact that um, focusing efforts on communities and areas that need the focus and the law enforcement attention is going to result in more positive outcomes as well as long-term savings due to the fact that focused law enforcement is more effective and has more positive outcomes, as well as a general thought that the reduction or the focus patrol will result in a reduction of unfocused patrols, which can result in cruiser gas savings. Now, of course, you're going to need measures for tangible, positive law enforcement outcomes. The first one's going to be crime reduction in the form of arrest rates, recidivist rates, violent crime rate reduction, and hotspot crime rates. A reduction in any of these areas is going to be a generally good uh, law enforcement outcome and would provide adequate measure for the efficacy of the implementation of the crime analysis unit. Now, work product guided arrests are going to be huge. Arrests that result from crime analysis work products should be noted and considered as a positive law enforcement outcome guided by crime analysis in order to establish the efficacy thereof, as well as positive community feedback in the form of drop boxes or surveys, um, due to the implementation of publicly available crime maps and other applicable data such as offender mapping. This is just simply going to foster more communication with the community as well as cooperation, and positive community feedback is paramount due to the fact that we are, in fact, implementing this from tax dollars. Finally, the apprehension of notorious or otherwise noteworthy criminals, the stemming of human trafficking in the area or noteworthy suspects that have been repeatedly arrested or potentially um, involved in the human trafficking but not arrested as a result. This could be huge if these individuals are brought to justice via crime analysis, and that's going to have to be noted as well uh, if such events are to transpire. Now, as a result of the prior presentation, here are my recommendations. I recommend that we immediately implement a crime analysis unit. It's going to be vital to the success of the Drange Police Department, stemming human trafficking and drug trafficking issues that plague the area. One full-time civilian analyst first will be employed, and they're going to have to meet the strictly established criteria which should be employed. I believe that this analyst should be looked for from other agencies, potentially other law enforcement departments, and potentially from the universities in the area, um, or even the law enforcement academy. I believe that there are, in fact, useful facets to law enforcement experience, and this should not be um, forgotten. However, I think it is important to have a greater degree of education and experience in software. The software is going to need to be updated in concurrence with the implementation of new software, as well as the purchasing of new hardware, which is going to include 10 desktop computers in order to streamline AMS and CAD capabilities and heighten interdepartmental data sharing capabilities. These costs are going to be drawn from the general upgrades budget from the departmental budget, and the cost of the hiring analyst is going to be requested from the mayor and other city council administration. Now, at this point, I would open it up to any questions if I was actually presenting this to a police chief. However, I'm just talking to myself now. So here are my references, and thank you for listening to my presentation.